We're being joined in the program by Dr. Doyin Guyemi. She is the public health physician, senior lecturer, Department of Community Health and Primary Care, College of Medicine, University of Lagos. Dr. Doyin Guyemi. Dr. Guyemi, thank you so much for coming on the program. If you can hear me, Dr. Guyemi. Oh, there. If you can help us unmute your device, if you can hear me, so we can have a smooth conversation.
Good morning.
All right, absolutely. Good morning. So let's get to it. Dementia is it's a word people throw around a lot. And people tend to say, oh, we understand what this means. But I like to start from the basics when it comes to conversations like this. So 2 quick questions in one, if you help us. What is it? And when will somebody be said to have been diagnosed with dementia? Let's just go to the basics, then we can build on that to some of the questions that are quite deep when it comes to this managing this particular health situation.
Thank you very much. So dementia is an umbrella term in general, but it does signify that there is some decline in cognitive impairments. And you know, your cognition is your ability to reason, to think, to understand, to learn new knowledge. So once there is that decline in cognition and it begins to affect daily living or your quality of life, then we generally use the term dementia. I say it's an umbrella term because so many things then come under that broad term dementia. Okay, so essentially what has happened is that the brain has been affected, either with the common one is Alzheimer's, where there's some protein deposit on the brain, and that has then affected the nerves supplying the brain. So this affects 3 things mainly: memory, behavior, and when we say behavior, we mean the reasoning and the thinking, and finally the language of the person. So essentially in layman's terms, that is dementia.
How common is it down here, and what would you say, is it just age, or there are certain things that lifestyle that predisposes people to dementia?
So essentially in Nigeria, we will say it's about 2 to 3%, and it's commoner in older adults from the age of 65 upwards. So age is a major one. Every 5 years from the age of 65, the probability of developing dementia doubles. And then from 85 years of age, a substantial proportion of people may have dementia. What are the risk factors? I'll divide them into the ones that you cannot do much about, so the non-modifiable risk factors, and then the ones that you can do something about. So age, so increasing age from 65 upwards, and then some genetics. Other things include risk factors such as physical inactivity, poor diet, when there is isolation, when you do not manage chronic diseases such as diabetes or hypertension, even diseases like stroke can further affect the brain, and things like poor sleep. So in general, many of those other unhealthy lifestyle can lead to be a risk factor for dementia, including not engaging socially.
So when people within that range or that age are diagnosed, is it something that they have to just live with, or there is reversible, or it can be managed in a sense? Because I'm asking this question, I have a few understanding of what I ask, but you know, every day discoveries are made, evolution comes through. So I want to find out whether there's an update to the effect that whether there can be a reversal, or it's just someone who is affected by this will just have to live with it throughout their lives.
So the first thing would be to prevent it by, trying to live healthily and all of that. Essentially, as of now, there is no cure, as in cure for dementia. What can be done is to slow down the progression of dementia. So because we say that memory loss begins and so on and so forth. So you can slow it down by picking up on activities. So we tell people that even as they are growing old, keep learning, keep staying engaged with other people, increase your physical activity, improve your diet, and also the symptoms, some symptoms can be managed. So if people are having maybe some movement disorders with it, or poor sleep with it, or even aggressive behavior, medication can be given to manage those symptoms. So essentially, people are aware of the problem early, the progression can be slowed.
So when should people be concerned? In fact, let's take it a step further, worried. What are the things that people should observe? I know you've mentioned some in passing, but I want you to be very emphatic. And is it only young, older people? What if it happens to younger person? Because nobody expects it to happen to people that are younger. But I don't know whether that is a possibility. So let's look for those exceptional cases and speak to it. If a younger person is showing tendencies, what are those tendencies and how should it be approached? And then you can piggyback on that to what to do when it comes to older people and how to check it out.
Generally, it's not common among younger people, but a particular type, frontotemporal dementia, can be found in younger ages, 45, 50. When you find that you're forgetting easily, something happened yesterday, or even what happened earlier in the day, or word difficulty, remember the name, that this is a pen. So difficulty with remembering the names of things is another thing you should look out for. Behavioral changes. Somebody who is generally friendly or begins to be a bit aggressive in their behavior, and this is common in older people. You find that they are not caring like they used to, or they are beginning to behave aggressively, and then you term it as either old age or witchcraft or any other thing. It could be dementia that is catching up because judgment is impacted. They're not able to judge properly in situations, and when they cannot make good judgments between what to do, what not to do, then it could be dementia creeping in. So very slowly, very softly, but these things can be seen.
Okay.
And then you should go to the hospital for proper diagnosis.
All right, doctor, as we wind down, let's talk about the primary healthcare facility and readiness to handle issues like this. I'm saying this with the people in the rural countryside areas in mind, because in the urban centers like Lagos, you can quickly get, if you have the resources, or even for government hospital like General Hospital, will stop by. But for rural areas, it's another kettle of fish altogether. So talk to us about what you've observed in terms of the readiness of health practitioners to be able to handle this, catch it early in that sense, diagnose it quickly so that progression can be decelerated.
Great question. So, and that's a gap. Our primary healthcare centers have not been properly equipped for older people's health in general. And health workers at that level are not properly trained, and I'm talking from a study we did looking at primary healthcare facilities, trained to pick up conditions like dementia. But with simple questioning and the use of a tool and asking questions, they can find out if there's a risk for dementia. Also, we can apply even things like telemedicine, where specialists in general hospitals or tertiary hospitals can be linked to the primary healthcare centers when there are such cases to deliver care. But as it is now, primary healthcare centers, if they attract older people and have such cases, they need to refer them one of the problems we have is shortage of skilled manpower. Neurologists, psychiatrists, specialists that should diagnose and treat dementia, but we have very few number. I think about 100 neurologists in the country, about 250 psychiatrists in the country. And geriatricians, let's not even go there. There are very few. But primary healthcare centers can do their referral by looking out for memory loss, looking out for changes in behavior, or even in their speech, and then they can refer outwards. And that does happen in some PhDs in Lagos State.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Quite an enlightening session you've given to us, and these are the conversations we'll be having, especially for older people in the society. Dr. Odoyin Oguyemi is a public health physician and senior lecturer at Department of Community Health and Primary Care, College of Medicine, University of Lagos. Thank you for coming on the program, ma'am.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about your devices on the segment we call PC Fix with our tech advisor, Ibitoye, right on the program. Join us again.